Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Continuing the Conversation, live from the APWA Congress Trade Show floor at the Expo Experience. My name is Emily Barta, and I'll be joining you in this conversation today. And this truly is a conversation. For everyone here at Denver, welcome. We're going to get your voices heard, we're going to get your questions answered, and we're going to find out what you have to think and say about potholes. For everyone at home, you know the drill. If you want to participate virtually, go ahead and use Twitter hashtag APWAExpo or ask us a question via that Q&A button in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. Everyone here in Denver, go ahead and raise your hand. Or if you want to tweet as well, you can tweet us at hashtag APWAExpo. And we are going to talk about potholes. We all have them, yes? Yes. This is Jon Hargett. He is the president of Pavement Restorations, and he has a session coming up today at 3:45 here at the Colorado Convention Center called Got Potholes? Yeah. Infrared asphalt restoration is your solution. So, Jon, welcome to Continuing the Conversation.
Thank you very much, Emily.
I bet we got a lot to talk about potholes, don't we?
Of course.
All right, so infrared asphalt restoration. Let me see a show of hands here in Denver. How many people have heard about this? You don't have to, I don't have to hear you. Just raise your hand. Ooh. So everyone at home, let us know if you have heard of infrared asphalt restoration, because here in Denver, only about 30% of our audience had ever heard this term. So let's start there. What is infrared asphalt restoration?
Well, infrared is a high-quality process to be able to fix potholes, surface failures in asphalt by using radiant heat to penetrate the asphalt to be able to work it back up into a production temperature that it was put down at, so that we can thermally bond the asphalt of the pothole to the asphalt around it, so that you have a complete repair that's not just fixing the middle part, but it's fixing the area around that's also deteriorated.
So how is this different from other restoration techniques?
Well, most common practices are just throw and go, where agencies just go by, throw mix in the hole. They're able to just fix the pothole quickly, but it's not solving a long-term problem, which is the deterioration that is also around it. So using the infrared heat thermally bonds everything so that you get a complete repair instead of just fixing the hole.
Now, when you say complete repair,
the complete repair is being able to, when you fix a hole, what's come out is what's completely deteriorated and gone, but it's still areas around it that is also deteriorated. So when you just throw mix in the hole, you're actually just fixing what's come out and not fixing what is around it that is also fixing to come out. So most of the time when you see someone going to repair a pothole, they're throwing mix in the hole. A few days later, week later, 2 weeks later, whatever, there's the rest of the hole around it is also deteriorated. It's coming out after that. So the problem's not fixed by just throwing mix in there. We use the heat to be able to fix the area all the way around so that you're thermally bonding the good asphalt to what's not good.
So is it safe to say that this is a longer, time frame solution that doesn't need to be changed or restored as often?
Right. We take the heat first to work up the area around it, apply rejuvenators to the mix that we're working up that is good, and then add new mix to the hole to finish the repair to a level that's flush with everything around it, and you're providing a permanent repair instead of just a temporary repair.
All right, permanent repair versus temporary repair. What are we thinking? Anyone here in Denver have any questions, comments, concerns? Does this process sound interesting? Have you used it before? Everyone at home, go ahead and tweet your questions and your comments to hashtag APWAExpo, or go down to that lower left-hand corner and click that Q&A button. And I think somebody has.
Yes, Emily, we have a question coming in from our virtual audience. Thank you, Regina. Regina would like to know what the capital cost is for an infrared-ready truck for a municipality.
The capital cost would be approximately $150,000 to get into the equipment to be able to do that. Of course, with that, you've got people and other things with that, but that would include a complete setup with a roller and all the tools that you need to be able to do that.
So there is an initial upfront cost, but how is this going to save money long term?
Well, the long term is that you're taking the repair and fixing it once compared to the hole that you're fixing over and over again when you just throw mix in the hole. So being able to take the process of the higher quality equipment using the infrared heat to fix that, you're eliminating repairing that hole over and over again. So the cost of repairing it one time compared to 5 or 6 times.
And what kind of increase to your pavement life cycle does this have?
Well, what we've done in places for municipalities where they're fixing to, we've looked at just say a road in one particular area that they were fixing to pave this year, a road that was going to cost $150,000 to pave the road. We were able to go in there, fix the humps, the bumps, the bad spots in it, and with approximately 10% of that cost, with $15,000, and prolong the pavement or the repaving of that road for nearly 5 years.
Okay.
So at 10%, moving the pavement, the repaving that long was very significant to their budget for paving.
Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? Going to make me do all the work. No, we have one. Another one from the virtual audience. Thank you.
I do. We have several questions coming in about weather. What is the effect with extreme temperatures, particularly cold, surface to air temps? What are the limits, that kind of stuff? And then there's one more that I will come back and ask you in just a minute.
So weather problem.
Okay, we're doing this process year-round. Wintertime, it doesn't matter temperature. We're able to heat mix up to a temperature that we need back to the production temperature that it was before. So the big thing about wintertime or cold weather processes is that we're able to use materials that we can heat up overnight, put back to plant temperature. So the temperature of what's going on in the daytime, as long as it's not raining, pouring down across the repair that we're trying to do, we're able to complete the process in year-round. So temperature is not really a concern. There are some things that do affect that a little bit when you get in extreme cold temperatures with the propane and with that. But for the most part, anything even around freezing temperatures are easy to repair.
Okay. Do we have that second question, or should I ask one?
Okay, I have 2 more questions, actually, and they got a little bit technical for me, John, but I bet you can handle it. Robert asks, how much does this restoration technique cost versus standard filling? Is it permanent or temporary? And then Regina asks, do you have to add liquid binder around the hole to facilitate the bond?
The first question is, how much does it cost compared to throw-and-go methods? You're going to spend 2 to 3 times using the infrared process to get a permanent repair compared to just going out and throw and go. But when you look at how many times and what it costs initially, that's the extra cost. Long term, it's a savings of nearly 5 times what you're putting into it to begin with. So the upfront amount is more significant, but you're getting a long-term repair with that. The other question was, we are using rejuvenators around with the hole, so we're not just the difference between using with infrared. You want to apply rejuvenators to the area that you're actually working up, so that you're putting the light ends back into the asphalt to get that. So because we're thermally bonding the edges, we're heating an area that's 6 inches outside of what's being worked up. We're actually getting a thermal bond. So there's not an actual edge that you're needing to provide a liquid to bond it to. You're doing that with the heat.
Follow-up question, how about rideability?
Rideability. Well, the big thing about throw and go compared to infrared, a smooth repair. We're putting a level on there with everything that we're trying to do. We're trying to have a 1/4 inch tolerance on what we're doing with repairs so that you're getting a long-term smooth ride.
Long-term actually is what I was going to say. We've been talking the past 3 days about asset management and forecasting into the future and creating a strong, secure infrastructure now to avoid having to deal with all of these dilemmas into the future. So I'm thinking that this kind of scenario fits along with those trends that we're seeing here at the 2011 APWA Congress and Exposition.
What the big advantage of being able to use the infrared repair process is, as budgets have gotten tighter and tighter and tighter, there's less money to repave. The price of asphalt's more expensive. Asphalt's not what it used to be in terms of the liquid content that's in it. So being able to take a 10% comparison to what you would repave with and fix these roads for a long period of time, you're able to prolong your budgets with what you're doing on a repaving schedule. So for paving managers, public works directors, anyone that's having to manage pavements and look at things long term, you're able to provide another tool in your toolbox to be able to preserve the pavement using the infrared.
But what about for people who have to manage, there's got to be some objections to this. I mean, there's an initial upfront cost. It's new. So what about people who have to manage and overcome these objectives? How do they do that?
Well, when you look at how, what you need to do long term by putting these other things in there, using different things with whether you're using fog seal processes or, different things, just remove and replace. We're recycling the mix that's around it. Our philosophy is fix what's broke. So we just take the infrared to fix the hole. Well, we're doing things with utility cuts and all where you're actually, when you've got a utility cut where you're going to go in and try to saw cut an edge and make the area bigger to get a smooth ride. Okay. We want to be able to just fix what's broke and not have to do that with all the other processes, have other equipment. So we're able to use the infrared to just fix what's broke and take care of what's around it with heat.
Okay, we want to make sure to take care of all your questions and comments. We only have about 3 minutes left. So everyone at home, if you've got one last question or comment, go ahead and tweet it to APWA Expo or use that Q&A button in the lower left-hand corner. And everyone here, raise your hand. What do we want to know? What else haven't we covered? All right, we do have a question.
I have one. How large of a utility trench would you recommend fixing with infrared?
Well, trenches compared to just pavement repairs in general are a little bit different. What we look at in a cost analysis is when you get into an area that's larger than actually we've done infrared on areas that are 12 by 50. Most of our utility cut repairs are going to be 10 by 15, 5 by 10. But we can actually cost effectively repair areas up to 600 square foot.
And then, Mike, that was your question too, correct?
Width. About how wide can
Well, there are different size machines for different operations. We run different machines, some that are 8 foot, some that are 12 foot. So we can do lane width repairs quickly in a 30-minute period where you can get in and out full lane width, and then you just do multiple heats longitudinally to be able to cover a larger area a lane wide.
Okay. We've got one more question from the virtual audience.
Just comparing labor time, infrared method, throw and go method.
Oh, there's no comparison to labor time because with the roller being on the truck, being able to go in, we can repair an area that's up to even with a 12-foot wide machine where you're doing a lane width, so we can do a 6 by 12 repair in 30 minutes. So compared to having to get other equipment out there, remove and replace, being able to do everything with one mobilization, traffic control is limited because of the size of the equipment that you've got. It's much faster.
All right, looks like a lot of people here in Denver are taking some notes. So if you've got one last question, get that hand raised right now. All right. Otherwise, if you are here in Denver, you can hear more about this afternoon from 3:45 until 5 o'clock at Jon's session called Got Potholes? Infrared Asphalt Restoration is your solution. And I'm sure he's going to go a lot more into it than we've had time to cover right now. But for everyone at home that's not able to come to your session, how can they find out more about infrared asphalt restoration?
Well, you can go to our website, which is www.gotpotholes.net, and there's other technique things on there with what we do to complete these processes. So you can check us out at gotpotholes.net.
So there you have it. You've got potholes. Jon's got a solution. Gotpotholes.net, or check out his session today from 3:45 until 5 o'clock. Jon, thank you so very much for stopping by. For everyone here in Denver, you know what's next, so I'm not going to tell you. For everyone at home, stay tuned for a rebroadcast of Larry Frevere. He is the Vice President and National Program Director of Public Works at HDR Incorporated, and he chatted with us about APWA Public Works Leadership Fellows Program. But for everybody here in Denver and everybody at home, basically anybody involved in the 2011 APWA International Public Works Congress and Exposition, be sure to come back here for our last Continuing the Conversation. It's a can't-miss event. We get to chat with Greg Steinberg. He is the closing general session speaker, but we get 15 minutes of access to him. We get to pick his brain. We get to ask him questions, and it's worth it. He is a sports psychologist and the professor of human performance, and tomorrow he's going to close out APWA with his session entitled Full Throttle, How to Supercharge Your Energy and Performance at Work. So thank you so very much for stopping by. We'll see you back here at 1:30 Mountain Time at Continuing the Conversation, live from the APWA Congress Trade Show floor at the Expo Experience.